Hello, everyone. We are live. My name is Jerry Cabazzuto from Soundpath.org. I also run the Liberation Academy.education and GodIsLoveTruthFreedom.com podcast, which I've sort of taken a back step to because Soundpath has been such a big deal. And I welcome my amazing friend, fellow soon to be onboarded on the One Great Work Network content creator, Chris Callahan, who will be doing a presentation for us. Welcome.
Hey Jerry, thanks for having me. Always excited to be here with you and look forward to chatting and catching up. It's been a while.
Absolutely. And before we continue, I want to make sure we plug your channels. So your work can be found on Love Wisdom Freedom 93 on YouTube, Love Wisdom Freedom on Instagram, lovewisdomfreedom.com, and then you also have Love Wisdom Freedom on Odyssey, which I'll put in the chat.
Yep, that's correct. I got most things are up on all those platforms. I don't have the website completed yet, but that is a work in progress. And at some point in the not too distant future, everything will be there from then on.
Yeah. Sorry. So I just wanted to make sure that I put this on there. It's not easy live streaming and producing at the same time. So thanks to everyone tuning in. So yeah, and I know that, you know, we've talked before about your your knowledge of reggae, and you went to Reggae on the Rocks recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's actually Reggae on the River. It's
Reggae
an
on the River, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. It's a pretty awesome festival. I'd say probably the best festival out there, but it's a pretty cool story actually. I first went there in 2007 when I just turned 18, and kind of got my first glimpse of a life outside of the San Francisco Bay Area, which, as you know, is a bit of a bubble, and kind of a somewhat a one way of thinking type of area, I guess. And
Yeah.
so I kind of got an introduction to an entirely different way of life and kind of community within reggae music. Obviously, the cannabis culture is very large there. It's in Humboldt County, kind of the homeland or the birthplace of a lot of the modern day cannabis, and so it kind of brought all that together for me and kind of introduced me to something very different. And you really can feel when you get there, everyone says happy reggae, and you kind of don't get it at first, and then you eventually get it. It's kind of like coming home, and you kind of feel like
Aw.
family, even though these people, most of them, you never even met. So it's a really great experience. I went there, like I said, first in 2007, then in 2016. Jessica and I actually were there, and I proposed while we were there, so I got engaged there. Uh, then
Aw.
then 2018, I got to bring my oldest daughter there when she was about 9 weeks old. So it was pretty amazing to in 2025 be able to return and bring my whole family, all my kids and my wife, and get to experience it together. But also with a little bit of a different view. I got a chance to volunteer this time around, so it wasn't just a guest. Was got to help and contribute and be a part of the production. I got to help K Mud out, which is the local community radio station there. They helped do a live broadcast, and so it was a really amazing experience. Very grateful to be back and to get to experience that and share it with everybody in the family.
Yeah, I love the way you're involving your whole family is involved in the one great work. You know, Kumar's lyrics in particular are very much aligned with natural law, and you did a really great presentation on the mystery tradition of reggae and its symbology, which we made sure to post on our Soundpath channels. But since you're not only a presenter, but you're also an organizer for Soundpath, so tell us a little bit about that presentation and what you have coming up for Soundpath.
Yeah, so that presentation really was inspired by Soundpath. We were doing the the watch parties, and I had put on that red, gold, and green, and kind of started to break down some of the symbolism, and that was really when I got introduced to what on earth is happening, and started to kind of unravel things as I worked through the podcast there. Obviously you get kind of a somewhat of an initiation into symbolism and the different mystery traditions, and kind of uh, what the overall meaning and purpose of all of them is. And uh, as I learned that, and listening to reggae and trying to understand really what the message is in here, I really started to see that, hey, there's a lot of symbolism in here, and really the message seems to actually be the same. It's just it's worded a little different. It's not, there's some things that if you don't understand, you may not truly get it, and you may think that this is just some like religious thing or whatever it is. But yeah, I started once I kind of was able to put it all together. I started to understand the message much more fully, and um, I thought that if other people could understand that, hey, this is actually the one great work. This is actually the whole purpose of reggae is to uplift humanity, to share, uplift consciousness, increase morality, help people understand right from wrong, and really what the journey is and what we need to do, and also how to identify the things that are trying to lead you astray, and the things that are not in alignment with natural law, or what is moral, what is right, what is true. And uh and so once I realized that, it made me appreciate the music. I mean, obviously, like a million times more. So it kind of took a music that I already loved and enjoyed, and just made it that much more powerful and meaningful. And I learned that music was important. I didn't want my kids to have a bad influence of music, and uh, so it was kind of like there's not much you can really let them listen to. And then as I really understood reggae more, it's like, hey, this is actually, you can listen to this all day, because this is really imprinting the moral message, the moral teachings, but in a way that is not like me trying to tell them, this and that. It's a song and they enjoy it. And you mentioned Kumar, and his music is very much in alignment. There he doesn't have many songs that are about base consciousness, or just the physical. It's a much higher spiritual music, and there's a message behind it all. And my kids have just fallen in love with his music. I mean, they know every one of his songs. They show me songs that I haven't heard now. And they could sing the lyrics to all of his songs, and they've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to meet him now twice, both just in this year, and it's been pretty great influence and role model for the kids. Um, but sorry to kind of bring it back to the presentation. Once I learned the importance of the message and really what it was doing, I wanted to be able to share that so people could understand, hey, there's a whole lot more to this. And if you can kind of get past the exoteric or literal or historical interpretation of things, and you can see that there's actually a really deep and beautiful message here in the music. And so I wanted to help do that, and it helps to have that foundation. Not everybody, has a foundation of what the symbolism is of what the Trinity is, or what the left and the right brain is, and how those are the goddess and things are used to symbolize different aspects. So it was a good opportunity to bring those together and show that really reggae music is the one great work. It is an attempt to teach and to uplift humanity, by through wisdom, through their words and right action, and helping to lead others to that, and not doing it through force, but through a way that can penetrate, through the conscious mind, and reach the soul, and really speak to you on a deeper level.
Yeah, yeah, your that presentation was great. Nick in the chat said earlier that he liked it as well. Meg in the chat is sharing that, yeah, reggae's been my foundation. Um, yeah, totally. I am j- after I watched that red, gold, and green video that you shared with us on that watch party, and then watching your presentation, like everything clicked. Like you can't listen to reggae any differently once everything's sort of explained or deocculted. So um, I definitely appreciated that primer. I knew some of the things. I was guessing on some of the meanings, and started putting things together in context, but to have like that primer was really helpful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. It's pretty cool to see people actually going on there and watching it, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. It was something I was pretty passionate about and was really looking forward to share. And once I saw it, I was, I thought that it conveyed the message. Obviously, I always see there's opportunities to kind of to say it, to deliver it a little bit better here or there, or to drive home a point. But I think in general, I kind of had a good sequence and was able to kind of lay out the message, even for somebody who maybe doesn't have as much of a foundation. I mean, I would say you know, I I I try not to spend too much time redoing and re-saying things that have already been said. So I think there is a prerequisite knowledge to kind of have as a baseline, but we can't just kind of go back and rehash everything. Um, but I do think obviously what gave me the foundation and the tools to fully understand that was really understanding natural law, because that is the principle, that is the underlying truth, that is the common thread within every mystery tradition, within the religions, even though they obviously are not fully in alignment with it, but there is an esoteric truth underlying each of those, and that is what the truth, which what is right and wrong objectively. It's the things that are not man-made and really aren't up for debate for us, or for us to try and figure out and understand.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny, and I've talked about this before in other interviews and podcasts, but I find it strange that others sort of viewing the natural law community would view it as a cult, because if anything, we're anti-cult. We're trying to get people to go through their sort of own understanding of things and doing the research and coming to, yeah, just going through the trivium process and just learning about reality and doing the right thing, as you said, and just choosing objective morality, so
Yeah,
uh,
I think it's just the term probably that, people just hear it and don't understand it. So just try to throw it in a box. It's just an easy cop out to not have to think about things. But I think we mentioned it once before, it's the definition of a cult is a group of people with a belief that leads to harm to those that don't hold that belief. And the entire core of natural law is to do no harm. So it would make it difficult to fit that definition, I guess. But so kind of silly, but the again, this is also why I'm looking forward to this presentation I have coming up on Peter Tosh, that will be part of Soundpath, because Peter Tosh does not mention the word natural law ever. Not once have I heard him say it like that. However, the message is the exact same. He's going to say it in different words and in different terms, but the message is identical. The message is there is right and there is wrong. There are going to be deceivers, and they are going to set up an entire system that is meant to drain the energy from the real people within creation. And there's all these imitations. He would say, cannabis or herb is creation. That is creation. It was put here not by man, by the creator. And there's all these imitations, like cigarettes and alcohol and all these other things. And yet society somehow is okay with these imitations, these cigarettes and alcohol, and these things that are destructive to the mind, the body, and the soul. While we have this thing, herb, part of creation, that actually uplifts and heals and opens the mind and frees the spirit and enhances your experience. And yet people have been brutalized and humiliated and thrown in cages. And I mean, the atrocities against human nature in the name of cannabis are immense, and that is the problem, and that is the message. They call it Babylon. It's the same thing as the Satanism. It is the force against creation. It is all of these things that have been created by man in opposition to what is nature, what is natural, what is true, right, moral. Um, and and we all are participating in these things that aren't real, as opposed to being part of creation. And it's getting back into alignment with creation, or natural law, or or God, or love, whatever you want to call it. But it's getting back into alignment with that force, and not being in alignment with all these inversions, these man-made inversions.
Absolutely. And we're just so thankful that you're sharing this presentation with Soundpath. We're definitely excited to hear from you because you've done other presentations on sort of natural law across the ages. Would you consider Peter Tosh's work part of that presentation series as well for you?
Yep, yeah, this will be episode 2 of my Natural Law Through the Ages series. And really, this is the goal, to kind of demystify the whole thing and show that all these thinkers throughout time have been putting this message forth, and it is the core truth underlying all of them. And some of them call it natural law, like the first presentation I did was on Thomas Jefferson. Now, he calls it natural law. He calls it the laws of nature and of nature's God. He refers to our rights as being derived from the laws of nature, and not as a gift of our chief magistrate. He doesn't. His words are in alignment with natural law, and you can hear. He's using the term as it meant to be used. Now, unfortunately, his actions weren't as in alignment with that as they needed to be, which it has unfortunately made his message not heard and not received by many people today. But then, yeah, I'll contrast it with Peter Tosh, which again doesn't use the term natural law, but he does refer to universal laws, and a higher law, and he refers to our rights. And he even calls it, the video, which is I put even included in my the mystery tradition of reggae video. He says, everyone has a constitutional right. Now, he's not talking about some written constitution. Like, our body, our life, we have a constitution. And by
Mm.
that life, with that life comes rights. And it comes the right to live that life, which is liberty. It's the right to do as we so choose, so long as we don't harm somebody. That
Right.
is our, he says constitutional right, but he's talking about our natural rights, our rights from natural law that come from the creator. What Thomas Jefferson would have said, the rights that were endowed by our creator. So they're saying the same thing. Peter Tosh say, I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and neither are you here to live up to mine. It's the same thing as Thomas Jefferson saying, we have rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're just saying the same thing, just in different terms.
Yeah, I'm really excited by this presentation series that you're doing in general because A, you're super thorough and you're definitely, we met through the how to become the true media.com class, and seeing you as a fellow student grow in your use of technology is just so awesome to see. And your presentations are great, man. They're definitely on point. Oh, rite of passage for Chris and Jerry. That's nice. Yeah. So, um, yeah, and I just think it's really important that we stress to humanity through your work, especially. Hey, people following natural law today. This isn't new. This has been going on. This isn't one person. This is a whole long line of truth tellers over the ages, as you say. So, um, yeah, very very excited by this.
Yeah, I'm happy to just kind of have had the idea kind of come to my head, and just fortunate it kind of came at the time while we were taking the how to become the true media. So I was able to kind of learn some skills and kind of put it into play as I was doing it. It really, like I said before, you requested to interview me was what kind of got me to get my camera and kind of got this ball rolling, and then I was like, well, I guess I should just do this, and I guess at this point I've just accepted that part of my duty as a human is to try and help, and the obviously the most effective way to do that is through the internet and by trying to put some thoughts in a more formalized way. So I've just accepted this. What it's just going to be a part of what I have to do, and it's I'm kind of over being worried about it. It's just what it is now. I kind of look forward to it. I have different things. I've liked to do research. I enjoyed some parts of school and doing research on things and writing papers, and so I kind of get to do that. But on things that actually matter and have an opportunity to push humanity forward. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful to be on the other side of things and not still on the path I was on. And um,
Mm.
if we just need to try and put some good messages out there, and a great way to do it's through the music. So I'm super happy that the Soundpath thing is going on. Really, it's inspired me. I got myself a little drum set. I got my kids some bongos, and
Yay!
I got myself an old mixer that I used to have. So I'm gonna
What?
uh, just start playing around and see what I can do.
This is new.
Yeah, even if I just well, I realize reggae music is the great work, and so if I can
Yeah.
put more reggae music out there into people's ears that aren't getting that it's not there, then it has the opportunity to help move things forward, and it does in a way that I enjoy
Mm.
doing anyway. So, uh,
Oh,
there's ways to make the one great work enjoyable and just another part of life, and it doesn't have to be this huge depressing thing that has to like consume your life and make think everything's going to shit, because it's like things have been going to shit forever. So
right.
uh get to work, as Peter Tosh would say. I'm going to testify what Jah has done for I. We need to uh, we all have been blessed with this life and this opportunity. We need to show a little gratitude, and easiest way to show gratitude is do good works. Like Peter Tosh would say, stand firm, let your works be seen. There's not,
I
it
love
does,
that.
you don't have to worry about some doctrine or some religion or anything like that. We just need to worry about doing what's right. And it's like, once you figure that out, it's simply put some information out to help other people get there, because if we could all just start doing what's right, we could be free, and like
Right.
that'd be a whole lot cooler than where we're at.
Yeah, this isn't hopium. We can do this. We're in a great window where AI hasn't completely tyrannically taken over everything. We can still use it as a tool for right purposes, correct purposes, morally virtuous purposes, and yeah, just spread the word. It's the easiest time to do the one great work, actually.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, think of like you think of all the reggae singers, like a lot of them grow up in the slums in Kingston. It's like you're in the ghetto of a metropolitan area and not in the United States, where governments and taxes and all that is even worse, and like there's no semblance of like even idea of freedom or rights or anything. And uh they can still, and they're only even Jamaica because their ancestors were brought there as slaves. And so it's like, yet they can still come to this message and this understanding and be grateful and show gratitude and do the great work and be ready to do it, and be steadfast about it. And so that anybody who's not in that position, it's like we have no excuse to not be contributing in some form or fashion. And the other thing with kind of the hopium thing, or people that kind of get uh, maybe discouraged or worried that maybe there is no possibility to make any change, or this is just how it is. I think sometimes talking to the older generations and the people who are talking about this more often can be discouraging because they're very hardened in their ideas, and really it's going to be tough to really change their ideas. People are so calcified in these ideas, but the reality is they're not going to be the ones to change things, so we don't really have to worry about them that much. Like, really, if
Mm,
if people our age and whatever, millennials or whatever, and younger, can start to figure this out and spread this message. Like, most people, these generations and below, realize that the older generations did a lot of things that were stupid, and like whatever they did, it really wasn't that great, and we don't really want to follow that. And so now most people are getting swooped up by the controlled opposition and all the things that are ready to take them astray because they know they're in that position. But
right.
but really, they're not hard in ideas. So we can, by raising kids in a moral fashion and teaching them, legitimate morality and critical thinking, we can set them up with a good foundation. We can share these ideas with other kids, and we can affect change with the people who are actually going to affect the change. Because the Gen X or whatever, the older generations is, as much as I'd like everyone to get on board, like, the reality is they're not going to be the ones that are moving things forward. They had their turn and they dropped the ball. and
Mm,
and so
ouch.
it's time to pick it up, and, as Thomas Jefferson would say, the ball of liberty is supposed to continue moving forward. And it obviously has not moved forward. It's fallen far far back, so we need to course correct. And I think the simplest way to do that is to respect each other's rights. To just don't take things that don't belong to you.
Right. It's just such a simple, and yet for some reason people are just not getting it. And so this is why we're doing the festival. This is why, once the festival sort of settles and is done, I'm going to refocus my attention on the Liberation Academy education, which you've been helping with for homeschooling curriculum resources. Thank you so much, Chris. You're just an awesome friend and the one great work, man. You're just always wanting to help out with these collaborations, and yeah, it's I just was sitting there nodding with everything that you're saying, because they did have their turn. The older generations did have their turn and they fucked it up, and now it's up to us. Now it's up to us to fix the mess, and it's up to us also as parents to make sure we're formatting that next generation, as you said. And it's like, I don't want to talk too much about my personal details, but like, we are the we were born into a slave system. Our kids are born into a slave system. It's just a matter of when they interact with that tyrannical system. And you know right now there's been an interaction with that tyrannical system for my family, and we're navigating it right now. And it's like, I was on Sarah Cross's podcast, Crosstalk. She and I were in the middle of having this great discussion about overcoming evil, and all of a sudden my internet goes out right when I'm like talking about how I want to inspire other people to do festivals and community events and so on and so forth. That's when my internet cuts out, and then right when the show ended, my internet went back on. So we're definitely being, messed around with, fucked around with, I'm going to say, since I'm so used to talking on radio in certain aspects and then censoring myself and then blah, 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 blah. So, but we don't want to censor ourselves. And there's definitely soft censorship happening with Soundpath. I'm learning through talking with Joshua Hale, who's been an amazing partner with us in marketing Soundpath. He's given us so many great ideas, so many great resources. Um, you can check out his work at joshuahale.io or beyondthematrix.info. Um, he was talking about how, this festival is firstly insane, that where it came from, conception for me right after Funnel in March to execution in August, like with a voluntary team and no budget. Like, that's insane. It's true. It is insane. But, we all need to find that strength within ourselves to build communities, whether it's through school or unschooling, homeschooling co-ops, whatever you want to call them. You know, growing community gardens like my partner St. John's doing with artgardens.net. Um, you know, and animal rescues, what we're doing with music. I mean, there's just so many opportunities to spread the message. And like you said, you can have fun with it. You can involve your kids with it. It doesn't have to be this. I think joy is a form of resistance. I find myself saying this and repeating this more and more often. You know, we really just finding that gold pill, that alternate between the dialectics and just rising above it. What are your thoughts on all these topics that I broadly spread?
Yeah, I mean, like Peter Tosh would say, we're born in the shit stem, and once we come to understand the situation, we have to sing the music, and
Oh.
that's basically what we need to do. We need to do it in one form or another, and the whole point of like how to become the true media is to inspire people to do this in whatever fashion that suits them, because there's some people who share things. Some guys share stuff. I think Dennis on the Gilded, and it's a lot of these parables. And Jessica loves them. She reads all of them. They're like uses
Oh.
superheroes and great allegories. And she's reading his book now and loves this stuff. It not something that piques my interest, but it gets the message to her and she enjoys it. And then something else piques my interest and is something that I'll listen to and pay attention to. So the goal is to have everybody creating in their own unique way. And that is also what reggae music's trying to inspire too. We're supposed to be uh creating a space for the youth to lead the way, and through their creative cultivation of the nation is the mission. That's John 9 there. But it's so we're trying to inspire everyone to be creative in their own unique way, and to do it in a way that can help uplift humanity and capture another segment. And I think bringing it in person is necessary, because we can all have interactions online, and if it doesn't translate into real life, then it's really not that valuable. I want to be free in real life, not on the internet. Uh,
Mm.
so it's,
Dude, you're coming up with all kinds of mic drops. Keep going.
but really, it's like I don't. This is the means to reach the most people, but the point is to reach the people so that then we can go out and interact properly in real life, and then we can actually just interact and be free, and things can be voluntary, and like we won't be getting stolen from, or uh, you know uh, harassed for smoking cannabis or something. Like there all these things. Like in these little small towns out here in Missouri, they slow you down to 35 from 55, and the cop's just sitting right there. And it's like, oh, you're sitting right here just to steal some money from someone so you can pay your salary to sit here and steal from the next guy. And it's just
Right.
like, what? Why do we exist? How do we live in a free country where people will run around stealing from you because you don't have the right color sticker on the back of your car?
Oh yeah, totally. And you can definitely go down that sort of sovereignty, which we found out is a soft censored term. The term sovereignty is a censored term. So that's why Soundpath has become a censored term. We've noticed some things, funny things happening on certain platforms and URLs, which I can go into at another time. But all this is to say, like we're really, we're in a spiritual war. Yes, it's online, but I totally agree. Having that in person experience, hugging people, forming human connections, conversations, relationships. Like, how do we build a community if not in person? Like, eventually, we're going to have to meet in person. And, like, that's why it's so important that this event be hybrid. It's humanity's first hybrid Truth and Freedom Music Festival ever.
Yeah, well,
We're doing it.
like Peter Tosh would say, if you can't feel it, you can't know it. So when you come together in person, you can truly feel it. I'll bring it back to Reggae on the River. When I went there that first time, it's hard to. I was having a hard time coming up with the words because it's not something that's kind of an articulate type thing. It's something that you just felt. It's like, wow, being here, seeing this group of people, and just the interaction and the being just in the present moment. There's no service. You're out there in the redwood trees. It's just it's totally different than being in San Francisco or the Bay Area, and all of the constant, you know, uh, chaos that exists there. And so it's hard to describe, but when I returned in 2025 with my family, I felt that same thing. And I think I described it one time. I experienced reggae on the river, and I've been trying to make my life like that all the time somehow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Well, and you make up a good point. Like, once people see and experience what we're trying to create, which is a free culture with voluntary, you know, friendships, interactions, community building, like, how else is it going to happen? How else are we going to have it if we don't live it and show people, have them experience it, and like you said, want to recreate it all the time?
And I mean, it's crazy that at this age in the progression of humanity that we are supposed to be sovereigns, adults who manage ourselves and who willfully know right from wrong and choose right because we want to get the right results. It's the right thing to do. And ultimately, that will lead to the best outcome for everybody. And, uh, it's crazy that somehow we think that all these, like, you go to whatever's happening in DC, and it's like you got uh people who claim to be about freedom and rights yet cheer on the use of federal government using the police forces and military and national guard on American citizens on American soil. And yet we're cheering this on. And
Yeah, the level of brainwashing and cognitive dissonance is insane. Yeah.
and yet we're supposed to be free adults, and yet we're cheering on this level of, like, everybody all suited up and with bulletproof vests and all this kind of tactical gear. It's like this it, even if you forced people to do the right thing through your violence and all your SWAT gear and all that, that is not freedom and morality, because you forced it. You forced it. You can't force it. Otherwise, it's not willfully chosen, meaning it's not moral,
Right.
meaning it's not right,
It's
meaning,
coercion.
and so you can't, if you do it under coercion, you're never going to generate the right results. It's why government can't work. If you run around, well, highlight another one of the artists in Soundpath, two of them, Presence and 33, taxation is theft. If you go around and base a system on stealing from people, it doesn't matter what you do with that money. You stole it. You stole it. You took something that wasn't yours. So if you try to do something good with it, it doesn't matter because you stole it. If I ran around and took $20 from all my neighbors and then went and tried to hire one of them to mow my lawn, everybody would be pissed off if that guy accepted that money. It's
Um,
pretty clear.
yeah. You know what I love about your rhetoric is you're just so passionate. You're coming from your heart and you just really care, and I feel it as a listener. I feel like you're genuine. And I just, yes, keep going. Agreed. I want to, since you brought it up, and since we need to plug, I'm always like, I have like a bunch of talking points in my head, and I always like forget them, or I forget to write them down or whatever. But I want to make sure we talk about our headliners. And do you want to listen to Taxation of Theft since we're talking about the song and
Yeah,
maybe
it
discuss it?
actually, yeah, that'd be good. One of my favorites by Presence is Realign. So if you have that one, it's got a really cool video. Um,
I
before
do
we
have it.
before we jump in that, you know, it's been pretty cool. So I do a little farmers market on the weekends, and it's kind of a cannabis related farmers market, and I get to play the music on the weekends, and so I have a whole little mix. And everybody knows taxation theft, and when it comes on, because
Sweet.
I get all excited, and it's kind of like a joke,
Yeah.
but the the reality is that song is getting heard by people, and people
Love
are
it.
there at the markets and kind of doing their thing, but it's playing, and it gets played. I mean, it probably at least every other weekend, and so
Awesome.
there's repetition. People are hearing it, and the idea is getting put in people's minds, and sometimes it just puts it there. Sometimes people go home and think about it, and it there's opportunity everywhere. And when people make beautiful songs that have great sound, with this good message, and they're catchy, and this is why music is such a powerful tool, because you're just walking around, my kids around, taxation theft. And
Totally.
they're not going to forget that, and it's not because I was
Right.
like, hey kids, you really need to understand taxation is theft. It's
Right. They don't even, yeah. But
it's
at
a
least
scam.
you're introducing, certain vocabulary and concepts for later, more complex discussion. At that age that your kids are at, you know, yeah.
Laying
Um,
down the format.
exactly. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's check out Taxation of Death. And I also love that Realigned song. That's one of my favorites too. While I'm looking it up, I'm just so grateful that we got so many amazing lineup artists, both online and in person, including 33, aka Derek Bros, and Presence, who are in this song Taxation is Theft. Here we go.
That taxation, theft, and that government is slavery. We're paying no mind or money to false authority. Because we own the product of our labor and not even creativity. We won't be used for funding war and genocide and heavy weaponry. Taxation, theft. I won't be paying no money to fake authority. I won't fund no war, no genocide. Taxation, theft. I'ma keep my money in the community. Taxation or prosperity. We know that taxation, theft, and that government is slavery. It's a modern form of slavery. We're paying no mind or money to false authority. Their authority because we own the product of our labor and our even creativity. Creativity divine. We won't be used for funding war and genocide and heavy weaponry. Heavy weaponry, non-taxation theft. And we already know that it is, oh yeah. Taxation theft. Taxation is theft. Taxation theft. I won't be used for funding war. Taxation theft. Taxation. From the day you were born, the system treats you like commodity. Taking their cut, every transaction, every quantity. Tax on what you earn, on what you buy, on what you sell, on what you own, on what you inherit. This shit is an atrocity. That don't even include the hidden tax, that of inflation. When they put money and take a luxe vacation, then they counterfeit a couple stacks of more and spend it on war and correspondent media campaigning. Most people know that it's a wrong to rob their neighbor, but they think that it's a right if the govy wrote it down on paper. Programmed to believe that slavery a racial issue. Whites versus blacks, either way they mass that get their revenue. Either way the subject is you, until you choose to own yourself and everything you do. You stop being subdued by the coercion of the few and break the bondage and acknowledge your inherent worth too.
Let me see if I can help you grasp what we're saying. Politicians take your money, more for the slaying, while our people suffer. The fat cats they ignore. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Taxation is theft, and some call it extortion. Involuntary taxation, pro-lifers pay for abortion, while non-smokers pay for tobacco subsidies, and vegans funding animal inequalities. Steal from anti-war activists to pay for violence, and people wonder why the streets are filled with riots. I do not consent, and I will not relent until all my brothers and sisters repent. This is our time to reclaim our worth. Together we can have what we deserve. One by one, let's take our money from the banks. Let's see what they do when they got no money for tax.
We know that taxation, theft, and flow of the currency. Now all of a sudden, for the first time in history, you can get your currency out of the banks and grow your own. Take ownership of your life force energy. Even back in the days of Rome, they used silver and gold to protect against the parasitic entities. So now I use ancient and modern technology, stacking precious metals and crypto. Crypto is my philosophy, to thrive and prosper through to the coming apocalyptic collapse. Monero being used to the counter-economic attack. Living life like a certain Samuel Edward Conkin III, inspired by the agora, the free market's absurd. The Ross Orbi still locked up for just creating one. Countless other men and women lives ruined or done. For heaven's sake, let us engage in voluntary transactions. No criminal in the middle taking
The sickest thing of all is we're playing a role. They ain't just taxing your wallet, they tax your soul. Some turn a blind eye to the crimes they fund. By taking from your wallets, they buy the guns, the bullets and the bombs. They keep raining down on the innocent children. Victims go in the ground. I'm praying for the day the atrocities will cease. Whether it's the government man or the violent police, we're capable of more, but I know it seems difficult. Like a better humanity almost seems mythical. Together we have the power to rise above. Reject the hate and division, we can choose love. Let's build a foundation that stands the test of time. This means resist taxes, don't give them a dime. We can build a world based on morality and consent. The march to the new world order, we can prevent.
We know that taxation, theft, and that government is slavery. And it's a modern form of slavery. We're paying no mind or money to false authority. I pay them no mind. The money ain't there. That of our labor and our even creativity. Creativity. We get used for funding war and genocide and heavy weaponry. Heavy weaponry, not taxation. I won't be paying for no genocide in Gaza. Taxation. I won't be paying for a proxy war in the Ukraine. Taxation. Authority comes from myself, from within. Taxation. Taxation. Yeah.
Here at the train station, acted like a full boom-boom-clot. Left my $3,000 guitar on the train. We're hoping someone can grab it before we have to catch this next bus. Boom!
I love that video. He's really cool like not in person, on the phone. Like he's very like, as soon as he knew that I was like, we're basically doing a natural law music festival and we want you to be a part of it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm on board. Like I love Mark Passio's work. Like, and I was like, it's in Oaks, Pennsylvania, near where he lives. Like you can say that to him in person. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be awesome to have everyone come together. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry, it looks like you're muted.
Thanks for that. Yeah, so much to say about it. But first, on the festival, I think, like I mentioned to you earlier, I think it's really a testament to, that we're really on the right path to have some people who have been doing it for a while to jump on and be a part and support, and really awesome to see. I think it makes sense that they would be interested, obviously understanding the one great work and really caring enough to do it. It's obviously not some cool thing or financial endeavor for them. They're obviously putting in the work and really about it. And so awesome to see them willing and jumping into contribute and being a part of the festival as a whole. Like I said, I think it's a real testament to what you're doing. But that song, I just absolutely love it. First of all, with music, the ability to be repetitive. Like there's not anything else where you can just say the same line over and over to someone and they're not going to hit you, or leave,
Right.
or you can't just keep like even if my kid is sitting there over and over, it's like, please go take that somewhere else. Like I don't need to hear that you asked me that same question already 100 times. But when you have it in songs, like you can say taxation, theft, and you just over and over, and then when you leave, what's still going in your head? Taxation, theft, and
Yeah.
eventually that can crack through, and so it's super powerful to have it there. And that just some of the lyrics in that song are just so on point. I wrote down some to make sure I got them right, but like President said, most people know that it's wrong to steal from the neighbor, but they think it's right when the Govey wrote it down on paper. It's just the way he's able to do that. But it's program belief that slavery a racial issue, but either way, the subject is you. Uh,
Right.
they're always getting paid, and we're all fighting over it. And it's like it should be pretty basic that you shouldn't steal from your neighbor, and yet we all believe it's okay because the government writes it down. And somehow, if a bunch of people sit in a building and do a little ritual, somehow that changes morality and somehow supersedes God and creation. It's amazing how anybody could think that that is a legitimate idea. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Once you see it, it's like, how did I get brainwashed and hoodwinked for so long? Like, how did that even work? And then anyway, so
yeah.
yeah, but once you see, you can't stop seeing it for sure.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and uh, um, another big line in that 33 Derek Bros says is, the sickest thing is that we're playing a role. They're not just taxing our wallet; they tax your soul, and that's what it is. Everyone who's contributing, who is participating, who is not willing to resist the system, as the Rastas would say, Babylon. If you're not willing to stand against that and resist and not participate, then it's your soul that they're feeding off. That's the tax. That's what
Oh,
they're after. Because at it a
yeah,
little bit at a time, as you every day you put that suit on and go into that job and go collect that paycheck and have those taxes withheld, you are participating. You are a part. You are a cog in the system. You are a pawn in their game. You're on the checkerboard floor and you're getting played. And
mm,
we gotta it would be a whole lot less scary for other people if everybody just did it. We just do it real fast.
I'm really excited to hear what creations you make with your reggae endeavors with your family and stuff. Um,
I'm gonna have a whole reggae band here soon.
yeah, man, just make the band. Just
Yeah,
make it.
I'm
Yeah,
working I'm
man.
working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we're very excited to have both of these amazing artists and to inspire people like us who was like, oh, that's such a cool song. I want to make a song now, or I want to do a presentation now. I want to be activated. I want to be part of the one great work, which is to share the knowledge of natural law of objective morality to the masses so that we can end slavery today. All we need is just a handful of us really to go on the internet as much as possible and we can make great changes and in person. That's what I'm realizing. As you said, the internet is part of it, but it's not all of it. You need to meet in person. You need to build those connections. You can't get that same
This is the
level of
tool.
community.
I mean,
Yes.
we could all have the game Sims and play it together and all be free in the simulation, and that would not be that cool. Like,
Right.
that's not that cool. So it's like unless we're actually realizing it in real life in the actual world, then it doesn't have that much value.
Totally. Yeah. What you just said reminded me when I was at Pork Fest, I met a bunch of really cool people, including many of our lineup artists and headliners. I met Joe Double there, who's going to be part of our online lineup on Saturday, August 30th. He's got an amazing set ready. We also met Brendan Daniel, who's one of our headliners for our August 31st in person event, which is also going to be live streamed for free. So if you can't come to Oaks, Pennsylvania, or can't afford a ticket, that's fine. You can still enjoy the concert. So yeah, so Brendan Daniel I met there, and then Lady Maverick, amazing female MC rapper, has worked with all kinds of other artists, including Diesel Automatic, which we tried to get in the festival, but it looks like there's some sort of, we weren't able to get it done this year, but that's okay. We always have next year. And yeah, with 33, aka Derek Bros, presence, we have our very own One Great Work Network content creator, Conrad Ragos, creating an album called Soundpath for Soundpath. Joe Murray on the One Great Work Network. Did I forget anybody? It's like 8 people. Oh, Apophysis, who I interviewed recently. They're an indie rock duo. Quite frankly, the first time I heard their music together was on that live stream. I hadn't heard a single lick of their music, and I knew they were going to be part of the festival because I heard Devin Roger Waldman's music in jazz, and I saw how skilled he was. I was like, Psh, this dude can play any instrument he wants to. He's definitely got a solid foundation in music. Like he's like any band project that he's involved with, and any partner he chooses who's also a musician is like it's all going to be on point. And I was right; their music is on point. And so I was like, after that interview, I immediately was like, you're in the area, you need to be part of this festival. Like, let's make this happen. So
Yeah. Well, I think what's great is it's not pigeonholed into a particular genre or style. You know, there's it is what a free, voluntary, or anarchist or just a free society would look like. Whereas everybody would have a unique expression and a unique way to express their own creative work and creative flow and as Peter Tosh would call it, a divine inspiration. But each person is going to do that in a very unique and different way, and the only thing that needs to that is consistent or present with all of them is the principles. The first things, and that is the natural law. If we just have those basics of right and wrong, then we can tell the story in whatever way we want to do it. And so it really highlights, it shows the principle of correspondence. This is what society would look like. It would be unique in all these different styles and takes on it. But we would have one foundation, and that would be our principles.
yeah, I totally agree. I also forgot to mention another amazing headliner who we added recently, Tatiana Moros. She is a country singer with albums behind her. She's got Truth and Freedom lyrics. She's real deal. Um, really easy to work with, very flexible on things, and wants to be part of this. So, like you said, I think the cross genre aspect is so key. And like, I mentioned this in my interview with Sarah Cross earlier today that just having people listen to all kinds of genres, but hear the message as the underlying current throughout forces people to consciously pay attention to the music, to the lyrics in a way that they wouldn't otherwise. And so we're kind of socially, in a positive way, socially engineering people. We're formatting chronologically aged adults today that are spiritual children and may need that kind of programming where we're singing songs to teach natural law now, and like I kind of think like my background in teaching and like, coming into the One Great Work, I'm like, it's not that much different from teaching. You just like kids. You just basically like, let's sing music now. Let's keep it in your mind that
Taxation,
way. Yeah.
theft, yeah. But it is a powerful way to do it. But
Yeah.
I think it's just cool to have all the different styles together because
Right.
um, really, if our thoughts are so important and our thoughts are, some people just think we have thoughts, but it's like there's all of these inputs that are brought onto us through media, through interactions in life, through whatever it is. The inputs, our five senses, how we interact form our thoughts, and so the what we take into ourselves is going to affect our thoughts, and that's going to affect our emotions and then our actions, which is how it generates the actual experience that we're in. And so when we take in all this garbage, even if you like have some principles, if you took in garbage all the time, like it would probably make you question those over time because it'll chew away at it. And so if we can start to mute the garbage messages. Like, let's talk about country music, for example. I listen to a lot of country music, and there is some parts of it that are putting a good message, but overall, what is it promoting? Working for the weekend, going out, getting drunk, being depressed, not having good relationships. Like, oh,
Now you pretty much summed it up.
and it's like we're making that cool, and it's like, so then it's like, oh well, oh yeah, I just got in another fight with my wife, and I just, it's like, oh cool, so we're just this is how we want to create our world, and so if we could mute that out and put, highlight somebody who is singing country music in that style that can appeal to people who enjoy that music, but actually have the good message, and that just having that available starts to at least compete with the noise, and we just need that truth frequency to start to be elevated and to be amplified, and so that becomes the the constant message that's put out and that is heard and that is um, acted upon, and even if people are just emulating it, at least they're emulating the right things, it's like when I was a kid, we were listening to like Eminem, and it's like, what does that make you do? Like hate your parents and everybody around you, and look for substances to help you deal with your problems. Like,
Pretty
cool,
much.
cool. That's a great thing for like 11 and 12-year-old boys to be listening to, huh? Like that. How is that going to help you develop the right ideas and worldview, and how to function in the world and interact with people? Like you're developing. I mean, you're becoming a social Darwinist and a moral relativist. Like that's
Right.
basically the ideas that are put forth in a lot of hip hop. It's the dog eat dog and survival of the fittest. Just got to make that money. Mob. And it's just like, no respect to women. It's like, those are not the messages that we need to be putting out to people. And it's like, if you're putting out that message, you are literally working. I mean, that is, some people do it knowingly, others do it in ignorance, but that is the deal with the devil, because you are then serving the force in opposition. You are serving Satan. You are serving Babylon. You are a vampire. You are the opposite of somebody who is in alignment with natural law or creation and trying to move humanity forward. You are part of the problem if your message is perpetuating and amplifying the message of wrong. And so,
Yep.
there's such an opportunity to highlight these artists, to help get these people introduced to everybody, and cross pollinate, so that all, people are, I stopped listening to hip hop because, I recognize how terrible the message is and the worldview that it developed in me as a young individual, and how much I had to unlearn because of that. But with Derek and Theo, I've kind of been playing a lot of hip hop and kind of opening me back up to looking, taking another look at it, and being open to finding artists that, because like it's not like the sound doesn't sound okay to my ear all of a sudden. It's like, when the message is not good, it's I don't want it. I don't want to take it in anymore. But I'm excited to be able to explore some more, and be open to that genre again, and it'd be great if there was tons of music in all of these genres that had the moral message, because music is beautiful, and it's an enjoyable experience. It's a great way to enhance your real life, and it can also be a teaching tool and a tool to move humanity forward and to uplift humanity, and to it, you know it could be hitting on all the notes, the message, the sound, everything, as opposed to be a good sound, but really leading you astray.
Yeah, everything that you said, I loved, and this feels like a good time to play Realign by Presence. Cool. Yeah, I'm really
I
glad.
love this song.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about why before we play?
Well, it's really what it is. We got to realign ourselves with the divine, and what is the divine? Is creation, is natural law, is Jah, is that's what we need to be aligned with. Nature, what is, the natural way of things, and so that's what it is. The video is also really cool, and some of the way he spits the lyrics in this are just epic. He's where he says, under a little bit of communism, euphemism, and a little bit of some symbolism. But he just
I love that
I,
part too.
yeah, what's great about Presence is it basically took the message without being encoded in symbols and anything. It's just straightforward. Just kind of like Passio did with all the mystery traditions. He kind of gives it to you straightforward. Presence is basically doing it, but wrapped in a beat that is kind of in alignment with kind of my favorite style of music. It seems like some of his influences are people like Kabaka Pyramid and Protege and some of the younger, what they would call reggae revival artists. And so it seems like similar influence, and then also a shared teacher. So it pretty cool for me. I enjoy his music a lot, and this one especially, and also makes great music at the market. It sounds good, good message. It's hitting on all notes.
Yay, what an intro. Okay, here we go. Presence, realign.
Choosing to realign ourselves with the divine, Choosing to realign ourselves with the divine, Mind control, I know my heart center is truly masterful, when I choose to realign. In silence, spite the fear I ridicule. It's time to rise up like a lion and to speak the truth. Because to know and not to act is not to know or care. Gotta do my part in declaring awareness into the air, unto the ether. For those who know it's time to become a leaders, keepers, speakers, teachers of sacred knowledge. To all who are still sleeping, upgrading consciousness, suffocating lawlessness. To the love synonymous, situations ominous, but I won't remain anonymous. You were never gonna do this to geographically, but in the words flowing like love. Money gonna be bound by dogma. No, my gonna be natural law or karma. Typogram of the propaganda. Raise the brain waves into gamma. Weight slaves, picket cages, disengaging limitations. Skip a call of the new plantation. Are you in the same page? Do you understand? Ego out of the way, spirit engage. Mind control slaves be feeling enraged. Ego can't handle the truth of vibrations, but I got no patience for their frustration, and I'm not giving to their temptation. We must among government regulation. Conscious life is the real education. Cause anybody who subscribes to an institutionalized belief system is under mind control, Anybody who subscribes to an institutionalized belief system is under mind control, When I choose to realign to my inner guidance, I know my heart center is truly masterful, When I choose to realign. Deserve to be put into an institution. Let me get in here and dispel some major illusion. Your chief religion is binding, grinding your mind to a halt. If you default to politics, then you got blood pay like a fiddle. Here's a little riddle, you think you got swindled, paying them taxes, getting crippled, your bank account dwindled. Don't like it, then they coming at you with the missiles. And you get a little bit of scribble on a piece of paper, underneath a little bit of Satanism, symbolism, underneath a little bit of communism, euphemism, sound legit. Cause I'm dead ass criminal, sign your initials on the dotted line, hand us your rights. No, your bitch asses won't put up a fight. We got the guns and we coming for yours. We won't force you, end up running our wars. Take the weapons first, do process second. Don't ask no questions if you get threatened. Do we lock you in a cage? Lock you in a cage, say. So we choosing to realign ourselves with the divine, Cause we choosing to realign ourselves with the divine, Cause anybody who subscribes to an institutionalized belief system is under mind control, Anybody who subscribes to an institutionalized belief system is under mind control, When I choose to realign to my inner guidance, I know my heart center is truly masterful, When I choose to realign. ourselves with the divine. With the divine, with the divine, with the divine. Choosing to realign ourselves with the divine. Yeah, we're choosing to realign ourselves. Oh yeah. Choosing to realign ourselves with the divine. With the divine. With the divine. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that song's so good. I think I like this layout more because I can see your face a little bit better. I have old lady eyes. So yeah, this song, it's great lyrics, great rhyming, and what I love about it also is he explicitly refers to natural law in it. Looks like you're muted. I kept doing that during Derek
Yeah,
Rose's interview. I was like,
yeah,
I gotta remember to unmute.
yeah. But he said, "Can't evade natural law or karma," which he does a nice job of equating it to let you know that that's another concept or way of describing parts of natural law as karma. It's the debt that we acquire, whether it be good or bad, based on the actions that we put out there. Um, but what else is he saying now? It said to know and not to act is not to know or care, which obviously is a direct quote from Passio, updating the quote from Soren Kierkegaard that to know and or no, not from Soren Kierkegaard. That was an older quote that it's to know and not to do is to not yet know.
Right.
It and then Mark Passio updated that as to not to know or care. So I like that. Obviously he's got the quote there, and really that's so much because it is so frustrating when you talk to somebody who seems to understand these things, but is um, thinks there's really nothing to do about it, or just accepts it or something. It's like, dang, that is got to be the worst place to be. It's like, wait, you actually see it, you actually get it, but you're not going to do anything. You're just going to continue to go to your job and dang, you know.
Yep. Yep.
And so
I've been in that.
it's hard to kind of figure out how to get there. I mean, maybe having kids is part of the influence or reason why there's a little more urgency to act, I guess, in my part, or versus some other people. But it's not like you have to have kids to care. Once you realize, like Peter Tosh said, I've been reincarnated here billions of times. So it's like you think of how old the Earth is. We're our spirits are eternal. You're coming back here, likely. You might as well try and make it a little bit better for the next round. Uh, and even not like they're why not try and do better? Why destroy and tear it down? You know, there's a reason we're here, and it's not just a whatever. I don't know. It's I don't know. There's a reason that we're here, that we're on this earth, and whether you like care about people or the future or anything, try and think about why you're here at least. What are you doing here, and if you're going to be here, what are you going to do with that?
Right. Yeah.
I think you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Oh, shit. What's going on? Let's see. Technical difficulties. One thing I can do is change my mic. Or no. Is this better?
I don't hear you yet.
Oh, man.
We're having some technical difficulties here. If you guys would just hold on,
What
please.
about now? Is that better?
I still don't hear you.
Ah, shit. Fuck. Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Oh, God. No, you can't hear me.
Still don't
Shit.
hear you.
Okay. So we'll try this way. What about no?
Still don't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, I don't hear you. Maybe it's on my
Shit.
end.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try one thing. Fuck. Okay, sound. Testing, 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 testing. Okay.
Hmm. Maybe you can hit another track while you figure it out. Maybe a good Peter Tosh.
Okay, what about now? Are we
Yeah, I hear ya.
fucking A? It's like what Mark's taught us in the How to Become the True Media course. How to Become the True Media.com, people. Check it out. Great course. You just gotta, you just don't panic, just solve it, look and search and stop and look, like, and so I did that. So we're okay. We're okay. I don't know why the fuck that happened, but nevertheless,
We're back.
yeah, so we're live. That's what I kept saying during pros when I would fuck shit up. I'm like, we're live. Um, yeah, going back to the song and to the festival. Yeah, very excited for Presence to be joining. We're going to be interviewing him, so maybe I'll make some announcements. I'll be interviewing him this Friday at 1:40 p.m. Eastern. We also have an interview with some of our organizers. Chris, if you're free, you're welcome to join us with Chris Jansen tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Moving on to next week. We have an interview with Tatiana Moros on Monday at 10 a.m., as well as on Sunday, on August 17th with Joshua Hale from 9 to 11 p.m. And then we may or may not have an interview with Mark Passio coming up, guys. He's really a huge supporter of Soundpath. And then I'm still working out Derek Bros again next week. And then we have Joey Phipps on Wednesday, August 20th from 9 to 10 p.m. He's a great podcaster, researcher, esoteric researcher, as well as accomplished musician. He's excellent. I'm surprised, his music wasn't more popular. I kind of we were talking during our podcast, like I kind of think certain genres have their moment, and then like right now we're kind of in this like, for the most part, we're in a kind of like country hip hop moment overall, I would say, at least in America.
Yeah,
Um,
or electronic music, I guess. That I never got on that train,
yeah.
a side note on the musicians and Derek Bros are 33. I just saw he's going to be performing another festival with Mike Love and Paul Isaac, which are two artists that we've highlighted. I don't know if we've had a chance to, but I've shared with you definitely, and who I think would be great contributions to Soundpath in the future. So really cool to see him getting to perform with some artists like that, but I really love, some of the performances by both of them. Some of the videos that they have are really really hard hitting lyrics, really inspiring. I did share one Mike Love, the Permanent Holiday video on one of our watch parties, and he's got some other performances. That No More War performance he have is just, I mean, it just, yeah.
Dude, I gotta listen to that one. When after you played that song for us, I could only listen to that song on repeat all week. Like I just like I needed to hear it. I need to go back to it because it's been another week, and so I got
Yeah,
to go back to that song. That's a great one.
it's a good little mantra too, that manifest the words I'm speaking. I will be the change I'm seeking. Manifest the words I'm speaking. I refuse to be in prison. I will make my own decisions. It's just a good, and he just, and
And the
he
way
actually,
he did it.
Yeah, where he's kind of playing with the words. Yeah, I loved how he did, but then you start filling it in, and then it makes you come to it. It's like you thought about it yourself, and you know, it's kind of like it's a psychological trick, I think, to make it, you know, it really ingrains it in there, which, but you know, for the good, which is it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I just think like, gosh, if I would have heard this while I was driving to work, like how many times would it have taken to finally jolt me awake? You know,
Totally.
and sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll like point out like, dang, you know, I was listening to this one a lot, you know, and just be like, how could you listen to this and then drive to that job all the time? I don't know.
I was there, man. While I, told myself I was a good person doing moral work in an immoral system as a speech therapist and special education teacher and a general education teacher in the public schools. While I was doing sort of unschooling methods in my sessions, I brought the kids back to prison. And what prison librarian is freeing prisoners? And once I realized that about myself, I was like, oh, I'm a shitty person, actually.
Yeah, I was trying to convince myself I could be a moral financial advisor. Which, I mean, I think as far as, being in the profession, I did it, you know, as morally as you can, while still participating in it, but, you know, I I at least, you know, made the decisions that were in the client's best interest, but, uh, even at that even at that level, you know, you're participating in a system, you know, like, when I was working at Merrill Lynch, you know, we were during, you know, 2020, 21, you know, we were having, phone calls with the CEO of Pfizer and BioNTech who are, manufacturing the things for Pfizer, and you know, they're telling us, nice natty law shirt or hat. Um, you know, they're telling us, oh yeah, we know we're going to get this thing approved, and once this gets approved, and you know, then our stock analysts, yeah, once it gets approved, then the stock's going to be worth this much, and it's only worth this much now, so it's a great opportunity to buy. So it's like these are the conversations that you're having, and so it's like you know what you're participating in, and then it's like, you know,
Wow.
Merrill Lynch was owned by Bank of America, and it's like, you know, uh, the layers of that the octopus is involved. You know, it's like, they're underwriting the municipal bonds for the state and local governments that are also where the, large corporations are that we also bank and have loans to, and we run their 401k through Merrill. And, you know, it's like, it's so incestuous and intertwined. Plus, you know, then the stock analysts are giving buy and sell ratings. Well, you know, like they're giving buy and sell ratings on companies that we also bank. So you don't want to give a sell rating to the one that you bank, and then you want to tell your advisors to buy it for your clients, because then that keeps driving the price up and makes it all look good. And
Wow. Crazy, dude. We need to do like a whole separate interview on just fucking that, dude.
oh god, it makes me
You're
cringe.
like a you're like a you're like a whistleblower.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was, yeah, man, that whole like what they did during, you know, they were, threatened my job and tried to tell me I had to get a shot. I had my direct manager, calling me on my personal phone multiple times, telling me like, you know, what do I got to do to get you to do it? Like, I need everybody, you know, because she's getting her bonus based on what percentage of her underlings are have
Fuck.
taken it. You know, they made everybody to go back into the office. They made every single person fill out a form online, and basically, a attestation, that you either have or have not, um, gone and got their little thing. And you know, I was obviously didn't participate in that, but I refused to do it. I refused to. I wouldn't even do their thing, and then they would literally to let me back in. I had to go in every day. I had to do a test and then attest on the computer that I did this test before I came in. And then they would have things that would just pop up on my computer randomly and tell me I'm out of compliance.
It's like a
Because
satanic ritual for you.
oh my god, it was really bad. And watching the whole thing, and they're trying to pay people extra to stay home. And actually we used to get a $500 reimbursement um for your health care if you go and get like a physical each year out of your insurance. But you couldn't get that if you hadn't attested that you've already received the jab. And so it's like they were taking literally
Bribing you guys. They were bribing you guys to
Mm,
get jabbed.
it was pretty bad.
Wow.
And it's
Wow.
like it, I
Dude, this
remember
is
having
crazy. I feel like this became like this went from like talking about music. Okay, so like whoever's gonna be clipping this, Meg Nathan, like here's like the whistleblower section. Holy shit.
yeah, I guess I never really looked at it that way, but I definitely got to see behind the curtains. And yeah, it was ugly, that's for sure.
I
And then
mean,
and then they let me go
people
back.
don't know this.
All the people in the offices got it, told they were had to, and then guess who came back afterwards? Never got it, and laughing at everybody. And it's just like all you had to do was have the balls not to do it. They weren't going to take your job. You think they're gonna fire all the financial advisors in Merrill Lynch? Where do you think all the money comes from? Like they're bringing the money, and they're not going to fire everybody. Like you just had to have the courage to not do it and say no. And really, that comes down to the whole thing. It's just about saying no. Um,
Yep. Yep.
and I mean, there were times where I was even like, dang, am I making a selfish decision? Like I just moved my family to Missouri. I got a mortgage. Like, should I just, I mean, I even like it crossed my head, like, do I just go and do it and just to take it for the team, just for the family? And, um, I'm thankful that, Jessica was very, supportive and adamant, like, don't,
Oh.
you tell them no, and you just stick to that. And if you have to figure it out, you'll figure it out. And it was like, all right.
Divine Feminine, Jessica, shout out. Love that.
So that definitely helped. I can imagine other situation where somebody is adamant they're not, and their woman is telling them the opposite, like you need to go and do this for the family, or whatever it
Right.
is. And that is
Materialism
and
program.
that's I mean that's that eugenic agenda, where we're working against ourselves. So I'm grateful, for that advice and her support. If it wasn't for that, who knows? I mean, I'm kind of against. I was against it. I think the whole virus thing's kind of silly in general. And once I started learning about soil and kind of soil biology and the microbes and how that kind of is reflected in our guts, and how like it's all bacteria and fungi are actually what you want. Like these things are essentially run what all the functions and everything. Like our soil is good because of bacteria and fungi. Our guts are good. Our guts function properly and in alignment with our brains because of bacteria. Like bacteria are not like these evil little things that are just attacking us all the time, and like we're just like defenseless creatures that need to like be in a bubble and wrapped up. Like these things are the foundation of life. And
It's
you,
just
you
so
know,
easy and simple. I don't get why people don't see it, man.
no, I remember when that whole thing happened. I was like, remember when everyone got chicken pox? Like everyone would bring them around. Like, why don't we just have little parties? We'll all just get this and move on with it, right? And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, that's
Marcella.
I don't. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that's actually how it works anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I guess we got a little sidetracked on the whole. I guess that was a whole sidetrack to life they tried to create for everybody.
Yeah. Ugh. How long do I have you? Do you want to keep going? Do you want to listen to music? What do you feel like?
We can jam. Sounds like everybody else went to sleep. So
Aw. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think there's a cool speech by Peter Tosh. You don't have to play the whole thing, but I think it'd be cool to put in because I don't know if I'll for sure be able to fit it into my presentation.
Yeah.
If you look up, it's Peter Tosh speech at Montego Bay,
Okay.
and he's kind of
How do I
outside of
spell Montego?
Montego.
Okay, cool.
And it should be like a 7-minute long video or something. And he
Yes,
should
a speech about
outdoors.
legalization,
Yeah,
1.2
yeah,
million views. Okay,
yeah.
let me just cue things up here. Here we go.
Legalize it. The time has just come. Don't feel no way. And don't feel like this 1914 business can work forever. In Ethiopia, where I originated, where culture originated, herb is a part of my culture. Smoking herb is a sacrament, not a sacrilege. Not smoking herb is violating my own constitutional rights. And to be humiliated, aggravated, and brutalized for the smoke of herb is totally degrading in this 20th century. And I, you see, standing here, have all right to talk. And you know why I can talk? Because I suffered the tribulation and accusation for the smoke of herb. But the sun shall not smite I by day, nor the moon by night, nor the pestilence that lurks in dark places, nor destruction that wasteth at noonday. For I delight is in the laws of Jah, who created Zion and earth. Years we've been living this illusion of Jesus die and go to heaven. That don't exist. Places in Africa, if you tell people about dead, they laugh at you. Only in the Western Hemisphere people commit suicide and genocide and homicide and all kind of side. I don't know who for side no left. And if you continue this same way, like you forget, say, Jah who make the sun shine still live. Men come telling you that them crucify him and them keep on humiliating the truth. But this time the truth shall swim like waters cover the sea. And only righteousness can exalt a nation. And don't care what you people say, lawmakers are what you want to say. You all better respect the Creator who is Jah. And not only to respect him, but to respect the followers of him. I know there are many imposters. Look like I, favor I, walk like I, talk like I. Him read Bible 24 hours a day, and him quote pure scripture, but learn say he is the agent of Lucifer. Wolves in sheep clothing, beware of thyself. These things cause I dignity and integrity to be abused by men. and make I and I look like criminal in the presence of men. And if I should begin to read all the respects that I get in the United States of America, for example, in New York City, I would not be humiliated for a spliff, no way, by no police. And that's for one blood clot reason why I would stay into New York City more time, because I have the privilege to smoke herb with respect. And I want to learn this. It is I and the Rasta man who has been humiliated for the use of herb for all these ages. Once upon a time when I first came to this planet Earth, I was told and taught and brainwashed that herb, otherwise known as ganja, is the most dangerous drugs and poison. And I was taught to be afraid of it. And it's a good thing I am in permanent link with Jah, who I say, Jah, I don't take influences from men. It is thy duty to show I what is right and what is wrong. Oh, I don't stop on a bomber clot nice. And don't take this thing here for joke. And go on like another pan coke. Or not just don't eat a whole piece of pork. Nobody let me on that. Because you know what's happening? The sheep, all sheep of the fold, have scattered themselves. And everyone is suffering from this great thing called ego. Everybody is busy involved in himself. The respect of humanity has been lost. See? No man respects his fellow man again. Every man love a pocket of a big bungalow money in his back pocket. Yes. Every man love material things more than his brother. But learn this. You see, if you don't learn to be your brother's keeper, tell them, my brother, the hardest bumbleclot way to, and it's no joke business. When I talk, men are being offended. See, but as I tell you, I have the permanent link with Jah, the man who make that sunball shine. These things don't happen in 400 years. Sunrise with I on stage. I don't want to take it for a lighting. Long time I don't perform here. And here am I performing on stage approximately 7 o'clock in the morning, sunrise to greet I. And not only I, but sunrise to greet everyone who have the heart to stay till this morning, standing on your feet from last night. What else in the world could have created an incident like this one? Only reggae music. The music that is not respected in its own country. And I don't want to go on like it's a joke business. When I talk, heart shook up and curl up, because you all support the bullshit. And want it to look like reggae music is an insignificant music. A music that has no relevance. Just a music of a cult.
So that was a really long presentation that he was, or lecture that he was giving, but I wrote in the chat, like, yeah, with that crowd, that size, I get why they wanted to silence him. He speaks truth plainly and from his heart. He's very charismatic. He's no bullshit. Just trying to help people out, yo.
Yep, I like how he mentions the higher law, the law of creation in there too. He talks about not worrying about these man-made laws and all these imposters, and he also talks how the are the fixing of this is not external. It's not like you just believe in Jesus and go to heaven and live forever after. There's work to be done, and it's through righteousness is the only way to free a nation. He said, that's to do what is right, a moral nation. To be free is to be moral. Like the only way we're going to get there is as he said, it's up to I to teach right from wrong. And so that he's pretty plain about what he's doing, and he also says, he's a Jah who is the creator. Like I'm referring to the creator, the man who puts that sun in the sky. So there he's helping to decode what they're saying to you right there too. It's like when he says Jah, he's referring to the creator. That's the term that they use for that, as well as Ras Tafari, which, as I talked about in the video, means head creator. So they are just referencing the creator. Whatever you want to conceive of that as, or whatever you want to refer to that as, is fine. But that's what they're referring to. Um, yeah, so his listening to his words and his speeches. I mean, obviously it's in the music too, but when you get to hear him speak like that, it's very direct.
Yeah. He's I'm only familiar with his music. I have never seen that speech, but I was like, of course, someone of his musical caliber would be an excellent rhetorician and be able to deliver such powerful speech. Like I, by martyring him, they thought that they were silencing him, but now he's memorialized forever.
Yeah. Well, this
Like
is
it's a
also the
child.
this is
Like
the importance and the value of doing the great work in this manner. Is it can go on for generations. I can share this music with my kids. They can share it with their kids, and the music will live on. So his words will live on. And I was reading a book by Rudolf Steiner, and he talked about it's like if you just think about it, like our karma, or what is created all starts in thoughts from us, and then what we do is action and words, and then obviously like that becomes books and music and buildings, and all the things that we do in our life become the things that are in existence for the next generation to learn from and grow from, and we can be the shoulders for the next generation so that we can move forward, uh, closer to alignment with freedom and natural law and what is right. So we're supposed to be using the lessons from the previous to progress and move forward to a better and better place. Evolution implies a forward progress.
dude, like I sort of I'm not just I can't believe how refreshing it feels to talk to another sane human being. It's so rare. It's incredibly rare. It's isolating. It is demoralizing. It's heartbreaking. And when I have moments like this where I'm like, I just like, oh, okay, God. It's just like, it's not just me. It's not just me. I'm not the only one who's like, what the fuck is going on here? Why are we fucking doing this to each other and to ourselves? Like, let's just fucking stop. And it's like, how do we do it? How do we tell them this? Like, we're using music, we're doing podcasts, we're doing presentations, we're dancing, we're doing stand-up comedy, we're
Well, also just
what do we do, man?
just being in the world, you have opportunities all the time in everything you do. You have every interaction, you have the opportunity to treat someone how you want to be treated. You have the opportunity to lead with love, and not like romantic love, like higher love, agape love. You have the opportunity to choose that and lead with that in all of your decisions, and you have the opportunity to talk to people all the time. And so, people, a lot of people get some things but don't get other things, and are part of the way here, there, or there on other things. And uh, I've learned that the reality is everyone's where they're at right now, and we got to move forward. And so if we wrote off everybody who's not there right now, we'd be writing off basically everybody, and we'd never move anyone forward. So we got to just realize people are where they're at. You got to try and see where they do have things correct, talk about those things, and then bring up ideas that can help bridge the gap on the other things. And you can't force it. You can't do it in a dick way, because people aren't very receptive to that a lot of times. So there's opportunities to share ideas and teach and just talk about things. And it helps to do it in a respectful way, and in a way that kind of acknowledges where that person is, and things that that things that are, a lot of people feel attacked, like you're calling them a bad person. So if you can acknowledge things they're doing that are good and are beneficial, and show motivation to do what is right, then you can kind of help lean on things that they're doing well, and guide them. And even if they don't choose to, it's like you can't force them to do that, because then that still wouldn't be done right. You'd be like the government trying to force it on people. So you can't force it. People have to choose it. I've found people are more receptive if you can acknowledge and be respectful, and let them know that I'm not just saying you're an asshole and I don't care about you, and I'm writing you off, but like, these are the facts. This is where that puts things. And I'd love for you to to acknowledge that and stop supporting that. But like, in the meantime, you know I'm not going to stop saying it. So I might get annoying to you, but
Ugh. As I was listening to you, I was thinking about some conversations with my partner, St. John, about how, he's worked in the addiction recovery space. He ran, addiction recovery housing in the Philadelphia area. And I liken the one great work to working with an addict, like someone who's in active addiction, to tyrannical systems that give them a short term, false, immediate sense of comfort that's not actually comfort. It's a soft, fuzzy collar that we lightly put on ourselves. And it's like in the tarot with the devil card. And it's like, that's basically who we're dealing with. We're dealing with people in active addiction. They're in denial that they're addicted.
self
They're
sabotage.
self-sabotage, just ego defense, attacks. Like, I don't have a problem, you're the one with the problem. And it's like how do you approach that? And it's like, you really, I mean, so far what I'm coming up with is you lead by example, and you, like you said, just try to meet them where they're at, kind of. And I don't know, I kind of see like there's like a divine feminine masculine aspect to it, where like the divine feminine aspect wants to sort of like hold and nurture, and then the divine masculine's like wanting to set boundaries and just being like, stop harming.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things, like I can tell you, like in my interactions in kind of this whole cannabis community here in Missouri, and just interacting with other people who are patrons, as well as vendors and things like that. And it's there's certain things that, if you're not in alignment, and you're just here and there all the time, it's like, I don't really want to be associated, because I know that also, if you're making fear-based decisions, and you're really caught up in material things, and those generate the results of chaos, and I don't want to bring chaos, and so I don't really want to associate with people who are going to generate chaos. And so it's like, um, there's a I'm pretty, when once you kind of see that somebody's a certain way, it's like, well, you can be that way, but I'm not trying to associate with you. Um, so I kind of take that approach, and you kind of got to be. And then, with other people, you have opportunity to interact, and um, there's always opportunity you gotta, it helps to be in alignment, and obviously it doesn't mean you don't do some things that you make mistakes, but you're in all cases trying to do what is not causing harm. You're not taking things that aren't yours. You're not doing things to people that you don't want done to you. Like when I put it to my kid, like when she putting her foot in another kid's face, and I'm like, hey, look, if you don't want your grandma or somebody else putting their foot in your face, then you shouldn't be putting your foot in somebody else's face. Like, think of the person you would least want doing something to. If you don't want that person doing something to you, don't do that to somebody else.
Right.
And like that's pretty. If we could just get to there, we'll be in a good spot, because most people don't want to be stolen from. Most people don't want people, trying to tell them what to do. Most people don't want to be forced to conform to some sort of other person's idea of what is good, right, or productive, or what's an appropriate path for your life, and all the, like, none of those things actually matter. All these things have been forced upon us, and then it's like, the fraternity that's like, oh well, I got spanked by the older brothers, so I'm gonna spank the next kid. It's like, and parents too. It's like, um, it's all these perpetuating these abuse victim cycles, and about time we just get out of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat if anyone is interested in my interactions with the legal system lately. And so check out I'm sad in pinellascounty.com and you can learn more about that. But yeah, you're totally right. And I was mentioning this to Sarah earlier today that um, the micro is the macro. Uh, the family systems, as Kat Waters talks about, are a micro version of the macro tyrannical systems that we're in. And thinking about this intergenerational pattern of child abuse, physical abuse oftentimes, sexual abuse oftentimes, and it's like, and then you it's just a bunch. Like, I just think back to like my early childhood development coursework, and I'm like, we're just dealing with like literally a bunch of like mental like babies. Like what we're having to teach is like perspective taking. Like, you are not the center of the universe. There's other people around. There's other sentient beings around. Like, that's what you teach babies. Like, literally.
That's
Like,
like the
it's
reason.
not an exaggeration. That's what it's gonna fucking take to teach morality to all these fucking babies.
Yeah, but it's at least we have the opportunity to do it.
Man, it's just like and it's like I don't even know what to do with this anger, and like I'm like, I was like blowing my voice out at Pork Fest because like every night, Richard Grove at his autonomy tent, he had this like karaoke thing, and I was like feeling really pissed off at Pork Fest because yes, okay, for Soundpath it was a win. It was great. We made great connections with Lady Maverick, Joe Double, Brendan Daniel, um, who I found out was involved with Etienne Howard, and he kind of introduced me to some other people, and like it just became this like great networking opportunity for Soundpath. I can't say the same about Liberation Academy. I ran a day camp there, and people didn't really like. And I get that like people are on tight budgets, but like it was kind of a bummer to like not always get like donations for like taking care of like your kids for like several hours, like. But it's cool. It's cool. That's where they're at. That's where I'm at. That's the reality situation, and I'm not going to judge anybody and on an individual level, because I don't know what's going on in their lives, and I'm not going to make assumptions. I'm just talking about for me, like to drive all the way from Florida to New Hampshire to like promote a school and like network for Soundpath. It was just kind of like, one. And then it's like, as a startup, kind of thinker, like, I'm like, okay, well, like, this isn't working so well, but this is. So I'm just going to like go with this energy for now, and then go back to Liberation Academy after the festival's done and just work on rolling admissions. And I'm going on a huge tangent right now. What were we even talking about? I'm just venting. At this point, this interview has become a therapy session for me.
Well, that's all right. But it sounds like there's people have kind of are always at different levels of understanding it. But I think the Liberation Academy will be a really awesome opportunity. Maybe Florida's just got a different demographic. It's obviously a much older area. I mean, I know around Missouri, there's a lot of people with children, and a lot of people looking to homeschool, and there's all kinds of little homeschool co-ops and things like that. People moving in that direction, and I think Missouri's kind of also known to be a place where people kind of respect their personal autonomy, or appreciate their personal autonomy, and it's more respected here than other places, at least in my experience. Certainly, um, a much freer uh, existence here than it was living in Northern California.
Oh my God. Like, you're going to be my like San Francisco support group, like sponsor. Cause like anytime I like, ooh, I really don't know how I lived there that long now. Like now that I see and understand things, and I'm like, how could I live there for that long?
I used to be a financial advisor for 403Bs for the San Francisco Unified School District. God, what a horrible place to be.
What if we fucking met each other before? You know what I thought when you told me that? I was like, what if I fucking like saw him in like the fucking like
I was
staff
at
room or some shit?
I was at all the schools in like the Sunset District for the most part,
Dude, I totally worked in the Sunset.
like Eloa, and I spent a lot of time at Eloa. I would be at Francis Scott Key, like a lot of those outer Sunset schools.
It's very possible you and I met before. You may have been some, because I remember like you'd go into the lunchroom to get your refrigerated, meal that you wait in line to irradiate, and then because you're irradiating your food, but you're like you have so much time to check emails before you start instruction again, so it's like. And then yeah, there would be like 403B type whatever financial advisors there. And so like it's very possible you and I met at a moment where we were both feeling absolutely fucking soul sucking miserable about our lives. And like,
Yeah.
look at us now, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that again, man. I just think of all the time that I wasted and gave to that, but those that suffering, I guess, is what got me to here. So um,
Right.
I think when I reflect on things, or when I try to come to an understanding of things now, I look at the influence of San Francisco and California in general, and then I have this new influence of um, there's some other influences that I was in some other like rural areas in Northern California, but also coming to Missouri and kind of having this experience, you know, being born in San Francisco and living in and around the city, and then moving to a town with outside of a town with less than 100 people in it. It's a pretty stark contrast, and so I've got to see the now I can kind of look at what are the good and the bads of both situations, and how do we kind of put the two together to find the center path. Like there is some things about California that I think are correct. People at least ostensibly care a little bit more about health and a little bit more about what they eat. They care a little bit more about the environment around them. They ostensibly care about the people and things. I'd say that's really, I don't know how much that's legit, but there's at least the appearance of that. And those things are, I think those are valuable. Obviously caring about the earth and creation is important, and what we put in our body is important. And so I think there's also, maybe not so much, but at least the idea of like more chill or less like I gotta work, 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 kind of a mentality. So maybe more of a balanced type of routine or daily, whatever, how you spend your time. And then on the flip side, like Missouri, people seem to not care so much about the environment or food or things like that, but they do care more about your personal space and live and let live. And also, like, if you're like sitting on the side of the road with a flat tire, like someone's probably going to stop and try to help you. Like people are there is like when I drive down the road, if you're on this highway with a letter, for the most part, anybody drives by, they put their finger up on the steering wheel and kind of give a little wave, whether you know them or not. You almost wave to everybody you drive past. And so there's beautiful things about here, and there's things that aren't as good. But I think if we can find the good from both of those and find the middle ground, we can balance those things. That's kind of what my flags are intended to do as well. Like the "Don't Tread on Me" flag is, would be more representative of what I've learned here in Missouri, and kind of a live and let live, and resist tyranny, not be the aggressor. The rattlesnake is rattling. He's saying, leave me alone. Just don't tread on me. Leave me and my rights alone for me to do what I'm doing, to exert my liberty, use my free will. But if you want to infringe on my rights, I'm gonna step up and say no. I'll bite if I have to. And that's something that people in San Francisco and in California, and at least in the urban areas, would think is crazy. Like we should offload this to police. But nobody should stand up for themselves, or if you're not doing what the majority says, like we're gonna come in. It's like you can't. The even Socrates was the tyranny of the majority. Like the majority is not good. That just allows like 51% of people can do anything they want to somebody if they so decide. Like that's ridiculous. And so we need to stand for personal sovereignty and liberty and freedom, because that is how we all become more free, when we're willing to stand for freedom and liberty, as in general. Then the Rasta flag is obviously more of a reference to reggae and things that I learned in California, but it also stands for sovereignty with the lion, and the blood stands for the blood, or the red stands for the blood of dead activists, the blood of freedom fighters, people who were willing to stand, like, don't tread on me, and stand for what was right. And then the yellow represents natural law bringing justice, as a result. And then if we actually stand for liberty and say don't tread on me and stand for our rights, and make the sacrifice, then natural law will bring us the green, which is abundance and balance and fertility, and bring us the result. So this the flags is kind of my attempt to start to bridge those two things and to bring those together. And It's funny. I brought up how some people probably think that the "Don't Tread on Me" flag just means you're a racist, and you thought like, oh my gosh, you really think people? And I was just arguing with people on Facebook the other day on it is like some group about liberty, and they posted this, and like everyone's like, oh yeah, you don't want to be associated with that flag. I'm like, well, just because the guy who made the flag owned slaves doesn't take away the symbolism and the meaning of the flag. Like
Right.
the guy was wrong in that to do that, we can acknowledge he was wrong and we can learn from that and not do that. But it doesn't take away from the symbolism of that. It's like it would be, like all of a sudden we can't use the upward the triangle because it was used for some bad symbolism. Like you can't just get rid of symbols. Like
Right.
the symbol still has value and it appeals and means something to a very large population in this country, and it appeals for an aspect that we need to embrace and that more people need to learn, because these are things that weren't taught to me as a child. Like we need to learn about our rights. We need to learn about liberty. We need to learn about standing up for those rights. We also need to learn about firearms at a young age, because if those things were just like if your firearm was just a part of you as well as any other tool or any other thing that you use all the time, like your laptop, and you could bust it out and use it whenever you needed to, uh it, you know people wouldn't come and mess with us. Like there wouldn't be a need to use them all the time, because people are like, yeah, well, I'm not going to go in there because every single person has a gun on their hip and they all know how to use it.
Right.
So
Like that
that
would be dumb of me to do.
like
Yeah.
that would be a suicide note. Like that would be all it was, especially if all the people are understand the importance of standing for liberty. Then people would put down those threats really fast, and those threats wouldn't come up. And there's that's why Thomas Jefferson would say there's a responsibility to be armed. But the Rastas would say, we want to use, we want to use the music as our weapon, and I think that is ultimately the higher ground and the more spiritual path, and that is where we need to move. Um, but when you have the cults that are running the show today and all the minions they have running around, like there's going to be a transition where we need to be able to defend ourselves, and that is going to require the ability and knowledge to operate these things. Those are things that weren't taught to me and that I'm having to learn as an adult, which makes it more difficult to properly teach it to the next generation, because I'm trying to have to learn this myself. But I talked to friends who grew up in the Ozarks, and he's like, yeah, ever since we were like 7, we all had our own little 22, and Grandpa just had a giant bucket full of bullets, and you just go grab a handful and go around plunking around in the woods. And
You're pretty much describing my experience moving from San Francisco to Central Florida. Like it's like so different here.
yeah.
It's yeah, keep going.
But yeah, like once how like it may have been dangerous for them to be using those little guns like that all the time, but they all survived, and guess what? He can pull that thing up and hit something as way across
Yeah.
the yard with no problem, as if without, like, you don't even have to look at it. Like you get to a point where like my father-in-law, like when he uses his rifle, like he puts it up and wherever he's looking, is where it shoots. Like he doesn't have to sit there and like aim it in.
Right.
It's like an extension of his arm. And
Mhm.
you get to the point where it just you get that hand-eye coordination, and it's like you get so familiar with the firearm that it becomes an extension of you, and you're able to put it where it needs to go when it needs to go there. And
Yeah.
when everybody is that adept in with firearms, and then it's there, and this is all dispersed amongst the people and not some centralized government military. We'd have what is called the militia, would be the whole body of the people, all of us. Then these threats, there's no threat large enough that you could ever I mean, even our military, when we're out in like the Middle East and there's all these, everybody's armed and you don't know who's going to be armed because it could be any single person and they're everywhere and they're all pretty good at using the dang thing. Like it makes it difficult even for a very well trained, high technology force to go in there without just carpet bombing it, you know. And so when you have a dispersed force of individuals like that, it becomes very difficult to impose your will upon them. So we gotta learn to bridge these things. If everyone in California could figure that out, and everybody out here could, maybe adapt some things on caring for the environment and health and doing that willfully, then we could probably come to a better place together.
Oh. You want to play Red, Gold, and Green?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I downloaded it while you were talking because, like, you were talking about the flags. I was like, we gotta fucking play that song. It's such a good song. You know what? Maybe we can get these musicians next year. Here we have Kabaka Pyramid featuring Damian Marley. My favorite Marley. Red, Gold, and Green. Here we go.
The banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know. This are the energy, the people, them been locking reggae beat. This are not trapping, all who feel like them are tapping, really sleeping and them napping while me flying round the world. Think man a genie like Aladdin, and for water down the message just be streaming. I'm not having people in a foreign say them not get no good music, so me go on in at the booth and then record like man a Cupid. Hit the target when me shoot it, it no hard to execute this lyrics. God me don't tell it for watch me prove it. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Wave the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know where we mean. Hear me now. 3 colors run the 4 corners of the earth, the 5 oceans, 7 seas, 7 wonders of the world. Jah bust the 7 seals and sound the trumpets of the word of 1892, the 7th month, the 23rd. Unto us a son was given, unto us a child was birthed. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, I listen, I the first. Some of them are weird the colors and them now do them research. Don't sing along just like we rehearsed. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Wave the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know what me mean. Lock off Babylon, them heartbeat. When the Rasta start speak, enough of them a blaspheme and a make a dark scene. Until we walk in with the red, gold, and green. And every man turning a king, every woman turn queen. The red for the shedding up, the blood will set we free. The gold stand for justice and equality. The green is for abundance and fertility. And the lion stand for sovereignty. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Wave the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know where we mean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Wave the banner from you know your soul clean. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Roots reggae music up in your bloodstream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Every corner, every lane, every scheme. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. Yes, enough you know where we mean.
Yeah, such a jam. You know, that song was really kind of the inspiration to get me to do that presentation, the mystery tradition of reggae and its symbols, because it was listening to that I started to figure it out and realize, wait, it these are symbols. It's symbolic, and because like the lions stand for sovereignty, and he also Damien also says in it, some of them wear the colors and them nod to them research, but they sing along just like we rehearsed, and it's like that's it. You're singing along to the words of truth, of morality, of things that are trying to uplift and educate you and move us closer into alignment with Jah or creation. And and so it's like whether you get it or not, you're you're repeating it, you're echoing it, you're amplifying the voice of truth. Uh, and hopefully it gets through. But even if you're unknowing, you're at least contributing by singing the words and repeating it.
He's so brilliant in his lyrical distillation of um, truth, of knowledge. And basically, what he's saying is that there's going to be a certain percentage of people that are going to understand truth. And some of them are just going to be sheeple and go along with that group. Either way, everyone's moving forward. So, and as a sort of spiritual military strategist, giving like a short, brief, description of what we're, you know, Theo's like, you
What
guys,
up, Theo?
let's keep going. How long can we do the one great work? Um, yeah, like I just love how he like takes these really rather complex ideas. I was talking to Sarah Cross earlier today about, how I really do think, and this isn't hopium, I do think we have an actual chance to change humanity's condition today. Because if you look at the rebel variation of the Milgram experiment, everyone knows the classic, version of the experiment where you have a bunch of test subjects, then one by one they go in with an authority figure who tells them to increase voltage towards an actor who's acting as if he's getting increasing volts. And so people are obeying an authority figure just because they told him to harm, transgress against another human being. And a lot of the test subjects would do it even when they were like crying and begging for the experiment to stop, but they were still doing it. And it's like but if you look at the rebel version of that experiment, which has been, I've noticed, occulted because it used to be mentioned on the Wikipedia page and is now not there. But basically, the rebel variation is you have two Confederates, uh, rebels, excuse me, who are actors, and in front of all the other subjects, they say no to authority. And there's two examples of that, just two out of like whatever, a test subject pool of like 100, let's say. And so after that, 80 to 90% of those test subjects said no to authority. Why? I think it's because of the Ash conformity test. If you look at that study and you think about how in that experiment they had three actors everyone was given a sort of slide of lines of varying length, labeled ABC or whatever. And then the test subject would come in and the, teacher figure or whatever would ask, which line's the longest. And the three actors would be like naming the line that's like clearly, objectively, like not the longest at all. And then the test subject would then conform with the group and say
The
the
wrong
wrong,
answer.
visually just completely wrong, just to go with the group. And so again, going to the genius of Damian Marley and his lyrics, he's taking these ideas, distilling them into saying, yeah, some of us are going to understand truth and some of us are going to be sheeple rehearsing with the songs, and it doesn't matter, we're all singing, like fuck it. Like that's what he basically, and I didn't even properly distill what he said because like I don't
Just like we rehearsed, and it throws the hand up.
like fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like he's and his music is just so powerful on so many levels. Like I literally um I think there may be a lot of beautiful Rastafarian light magic involved with the Marley clan.
Yeah,
They're,
absolutely.
they're all of them are
I
up to
think if you
or
listen to Ziggy's music too, he's I think he may have the best understanding uh based on his music. But
what.
go to your distillation of with Damian Marley, like, he breaks down the whole law of freedom in the one line, uh if we were living as we should, less of us would be in pain.
Yeah,
Sum the whole thing up just like that. And
yeah.
that's just it.
Uh,
Um, but it is amazing how they're able to do that. Take such a uh, deep and thorough concept and just get it down to that. And that's why. And then you listen to songs over and over, and it's like you actually learn more from the same song, and it's like, oh wow.
yeah, man. I love that about music. And I love that about music for our positive social engineering that we're doing. They're up to it. Why can't we do it positively, And like we want to get people to start thinking about these messages. And so how do we do that? Let's do a cross genre festival where people are forced to pay attention to the lyrics. That's the only common thread. Everyone's talking about truth and freedom somehow. We got a comment. Chris, your presentation, the symbology of the rock was flawless. Great work, friend. Look at that.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time to watch it. It like I said earlier, it's really cool just to see people actually taking the time to take the work in, and I thought it was pretty cool myself. So I'm glad people are enjoying it.
Yeah, you are. I was talking to Derek and Theo during one of our watch parties. Like, you brought the reggae flavor into this festival. Thank you. It was much needed.
Happy to do so, and even more so now, learning that really that is part of the one great work. So maybe one day I'm gonna have my own reggae radio station that'll be playing reggae music 24/7, putting the vibrations out there.
Okay.
It's in the work.
Yeah. Um, you could also do internet radio, like Revolution Radio too.
Yeah, I
There's like
thought
a bunch
about.
of open slots they have.
Yeah, I thought about trying to find a way to do that, and but I want to play music. I want to actually, I want it to be, want, I want to do like actual radio. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but there's gonna be.
You already have radio connections. You were on a radio show interview recently. Do you want to talk about that briefly? Or
Yeah. That ties into reggae on the river too. So I had a friend Sunshine there up in Humboldt County, and she has a radio show on a cannabis radio show on K Mud, which is the Southern Humboldt local community radio network, and so she interviewed me more about cannabis and kind of what my role in that here, and kind of how that's kind of played a role in uh, my experience of reggae on the river as well. But uh, pretty awesome. After getting interviewed, she actually hooked me up with a press pass and an opportunity to volunteer with K Mud, the radio station, during Reggae on the River. So I got a chance to not just be a patron this year. I got to work with the press tent. We got to be there for all the interviews of all the artists. Julian Marley was there, and I got to sit in on his interview. So that was pretty exciting, as well as some other really awesome interviews. And I also got to be part of the playback crew, so I got to record or set up the recording on these little Zoom mics, and and then would edit them in between sets and for them to play back live on the radio, or not live, but play back on the radio for everyone who wasn't able to attend the festival to be able to hear on the radio and online. So
Wow.
pretty cool to play a role and contribute to the festival's production, and got a chance to learn a lot, and got a different perspective behind, backstage with, around the artist, and getting to hear them and kind of their more more about their music, and get to hear people ask them questions, and more than just the music itself. And so really awesome opportunity. I'm super grateful to have been able to
Yeah.
do that, and hopefully I'll get help in the help them out in the future too. So they do it every year, and hopefully they'll have me back as a volunteer each year.
Dude, that's freaking amazing. You made so many connections. Did you use some how to become the true media.com skills in your
Yeah, I mean, basically she was like, "Yeah, put that on there, edit it, and then put it over here." I was like, "What do you mean edit it?" Like, I've never actually just edited audio stuff on the fly like that. And she's like, "You just got to play around and figure it out." And so luckily, I had, you know, done some, watched Mark do some editing in the How to Become the True Media class, and I had done some, video editing back in like high school. So I was able to kind of figure it out enough and edit these things on the spot, and then send it over. Um, to them to put on the radio. So it was cool. I learned a lot, got to see a lot, and awesome opportunity. Plus, my kids, because I had the press pass, my kids were able to come backstage and see Kumar again and take a picture with them again. And they very much look up to him. It's funny in that picture. There's probably like 8 pictures, and in almost all of them, the two middle kids are both just looking up to him. It's like you can they really look up to you. Like even in the pictures,
Oh,
they're just both looking up to him. And so it's
oh.
cool to have such a good role model and music for them to enjoy. It's inspired them. They all have little bongos now and run around, like I said, they show me some of the music and new songs. They really like Natalie Rise and Ja Nine as well.
I've been
Uh,
playing dude, I literally just I'm like I'm with my kids. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to Chris's Soundpath. Or not, well, you did create like a Soundpath conscious reggae playlist on Spotify, which we need to feature on our website.
yeah,
So
I'm working on. I actually just started yesterday. I'm trying to make a more comprehensive one because I started that one and didn't finish it. So I'm
yeah,
starting over, and I've got I got a list right here, a bunch of
fuck yeah,
all the names to go
yeah,
through. And
yeah,
uh,
man,
so before the festival, I will have a comprehensive
excellent,
conscious reggae playlist on Spotify to share. And
yeah.
I do have a YouTube playlist. It's called Songs for Freedom, and it's all conscious reggae, and that is it. You can find it on the Love Wisdom Freedom 93 YouTube. That playlist is on there. Um, but I will definitely have the Spotify playlist done before the festival.
Excellent. I love how we are working as well as interviewing simultaneously. I'm looking at your Songs of Freedom playlist. Okay, so I'll link this in the chat. How exciting. I did not know you had this. What
Mhm.
other things are you talking about or doing that you're not talking about?
I don't know. I think we already talked about I made the curriculum,
Yeah,
homeschool curriculum. I will eventually have that. That'll have a whole section on my website once I get that all figured out. And
yay.
my goal is to not only have the links for everything, but try and find a digital copy of everything so that it can literally be a whole free, accessible um, homeschool guideline with natural law and the trivium, quadrivium worked in, as well as the ability to teach some of the fundamental languages like Latin and Greek and Hebrew to really develop, children, but also a lot of um, like farming and homesteading and gardening and nature activities and things like that, rock hunting and artifact finding and all kinds of tie dye,
Oh,
and so it's a pretty
God.
eclectic range of stuff. But yeah, get excited to share that with everybody. I obviously contributed to the Liberation Academy, and like I said, hopefully I'll have that all put together. But other than that, I'm just trying to raise these kids, and I got trying to tend this land and try and restore it, make it a little healthier. I'm surrounded by farms that are big agriculture and spraying and all kinds of stuff. So I'm trying to improve this little piece of land that I got, and uh,
Excellent.
try and leave it better than I got it.
You're a good man, brother. You're a good man. Excellent, excellent values and living by example. Teaching morality intergenerationally, having that sort of legacy mindset. Great. Proud to
I,
be your friend.
I appreciate you a lot, Jerry.
Yeah, of course. Should we end with a song?
Yeah. Ooh, what's a good one?
I have to I trialed for one live stream using a YouTube link, I think, to stream the music, and the audio was horrible. You have to use a video file. So I was like, okay, this is why Derek is always using video files. And so
I seen that because I went to go, and while you were messing with your audio, I went to present and was like, oh, video file. Then I was like, okay, I see it. Maybe I got to share screen. But then
yeah,
then you got back before I figured that all out. But yeah, I have, what I should have this set up with file sharing so that I could access my hard drive in the other room from my laptop. But I'll work on that.
cool. Do you wanna maybe end with a 33, aka Derek Bros, and Presence song called "Unwritten"? And then
Yeah.
put it an end. Okay, cool. Hooray! Here we go. Unwritten.
33. Present. Doing it again. Yeah. I can't believe this is my life and I'm on top. I had to hit rock bottom and I didn't stop. Fell to the floor, crashed to the depths of hell. Made so many mistakes, but my soul ain't for sale. Forgive myself, forgive those who crossed me. Not like I'm keeping score, but I keep coming up empty. There's a big world out here, waiting to be discovered. There's so many hidden truths, waiting to be uncovered. There's no going back, the future's unwritten. We can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and I'm ready to embrace my destiny in this journey through time and space. There's no going back, the future's unwritten. You can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and it's time to embrace your destiny in this journey through time and space. You ever feel like you got a bigger mission to fulfill? There's too much to do, can't get caught sitting still. I know I'm meant to be more than a cog in the machine. Not sure where I'm headed, but I'm more than I seem. They say the grass ain't always greener, but I gotta find out. Get to the other side so I can erase my doubt. I'm tuned into my purpose, no more feeling worthless. No more wasting time, asking if I deserve this. This is my moment to show my full potential. This is my one shot, so I'm done being sinful. I feel nothing but gratitude, just anticipating. I know I can take on anything I'm facing. There's no going back, the future's unwritten. We can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and I'm ready to embrace my destiny in this journey through time and space. There's no going back, the future's unwritten. You can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and it's time to embrace your destiny in this journey through time and space.
You ever feel like you're capable of more? Saw a vision, yet you make the same decisions before. Feeling like a couple version of yourself a reward. The one that's complacent and the one that's awake in the soul. Yeah, highest priority life force. Only giving my body what it was designed for. Higher dimensional consciousness, I know I got to explore. Higher priority is an inner peace I got to restore. All the bullshit on the big shoot, from the fear point to the fake news. With the clickbait for the most views, gonna distract from the real you. Gotta break the cycle of attachment addiction. Tell the story now, it remains unwritten.
There's no going back, the future's unwritten. We can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and I'm ready to embrace my destiny in the journey through time and space. There's no going back, the future's unwritten. You can keep trying, but there's no use preventing. Creator has a plan, and it's time to embrace your destiny in this journey through time and space. I stand for the 7 generations, original First Nations. Call onto your ancestors and ask for patience. Can't stop climbing in the face of these obstacles. The truth's within each of us like the Gnostic Gospels. And yes, it's true that time is running low, but we determine our future with the seeds we sow. So let's keep building the world of our dreams as we watch Babylon come apart at the seams. 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 Watch Babylon come apart at the seams.
Oh man, that song's awesome. What did you think?
Well, I'd love to watch Babylon come apart at the seams, so I'm all down for that. But actually, I just heard the song for the first time like yesterday, the day before, with the interview that you did with Derek. So I appreciated that because I enjoyed it a lot. I actually had thought about it a lot actually since then because it was there's some a part of it that really made me think. He says the future is unwritten, but the creator has a plan, and I love how he puts that forth like that because so many people get imbalanced with one or the other, as in everything's predetermined and it's all the God already did it all and we're just going along with it. And then there's the other that everything is just chaos or randomness, and it's neither of those in isolation. The future's unwritten because we have free will, so we determine it, like he says, with the seeds we sow. We determine our future with the seeds we sow. So our actions are going to determine the future because it is unwritten. But the creator does have a plan, and the part that is predetermined is natural law. And so it's like there's a part of it that's predetermined, and that's that you're going to get the results based on the actions and the choices that you make. And that's going to get you're going to be given those results perfectly because it's law. And so we can sow the seeds of right and morality, and that will get us we can create a beautiful place where there is no systems and Babylon is coming apart at the seams, you know, or we can continue down this path and continue to create the chaos that we have. And so we have the free will to choose, but we will get the consequence by law according to what we choose, whether it be right or wrong. If we want the right results, we choose right. If we want the wrong results, we continue choosing wrong. And so I thought it was beautiful the way he put it in there like that, because most people are imbalanced one way or another. Uh, this that this is what we need to understand, that there is a part that is predetermined. That's natural law. We have free will to choose. We can choose right and we can get right, or we can choose wrong and we can get wrong. But it's our
Right.
choices that will determine that.
Yes, excellent analysis and expansion of the ideas, which again, like there's such like when you flesh the ideas out, it takes a long time to work through. And what's great about lyrics and music is that you can get these bigger, deeper truths from just a few words. It's
Hmm.
just, and have them rhyme with rhythm, with it's like
Melody, yeah.
it's the highest form of rhetoric.
Yeah, I would say so. Um, and because you're also creating kind of from nothing, you're putting word, sound, and power all together.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to Dorianne Saracen about dance and the sort of she was sort of describing how like certain instruments are sort of more felt on like different parts of the body. So like if you're like working with like, flutes or like, stringed instruments, you're doing a lot more in the upper body. And then if you're working with like drums, it's more like lower, like hips, like knees, stuff like that. And like I was thinking about um I'm having a brain fart.
That's right. It reminded me of something. That's like at the the Trivium book. Um, the I think I forget what the author, the one with all the symbols on the front, the black book. It says Trivium.
The
Uh, but
Are you
anyway,
talking about the Sister Miriam Joseph book, or is that a different one?
no, a different one.
Okay.
I think the one where there's a whole set. There's a trivium book, a quadrivium, and then there's a bunch of other ones. But at the beginning of the trivium book, they talk about I forget what they called it, but they're basically talking about like kind of the science of letters and stuff. And it's like even a letter like a S in like implies like slippery or slimy or and it's like these things that start with S and it's like these different the letters, the shape of the letter, as well as the sound, almost invoke and kind of reference some of the words that would be used with it, and there's the correspondence there, and so uh, uh, interesting to think that but makes sense that the different instruments would have an effect on different parts of the body in a different way like that. Uh, I'd be interested to see, how uh, dance, like when people are dancing and how that aligns with that, and if that is a natural thing or it's probably because there's times where you start dancing. I mean, even with music, like you just kind of start going, and um, some would say that's when you're kind of channeling or in a direct link to Jah and the divine inspiration.
Yes. There's a reason why I think a lot of sort of indigenous cultures, especially, have dance rituals, usually in nature. You're right. Man, I'm like really frustrated because like I was gonna make a point about like different instruments, and I was just getting really excited. We were talking about music and getting nerdy about it, and it's getting late. So,
All
um,
good.
do you have any closing thoughts?
I'd just say, if for everybody who's going to listen to music, be mindful of what you listen to because it does have an effect on your thoughts and your ideas and your worldview and how you view yourself and the way you interact in the world and with others. And if you can put a good message in there and think about things that are going to uplift you and uplift humanity as a whole and help you understand right from wrong better and morality and the value in choosing right, then you're going to have a positive impact and it can be reflected in your actions and you can start to generate the right results as well. And if we can it's a whole lot easier than some violent revolution, So we can. This is definitely would be a preferred route for most people, I would assume. So it seems a pretty easy step to take, like to stop taking trash music in and listen to
Yeah.
things listen to things that, as the Rastas were saying, as upful. So everyone have an upful night. Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Yeah.
Thanks for spearheading this effort. I'm looking forward to everybody who's participating and everybody who's involved. And if things work out, maybe you'll see me in Oaks, Pennsylvania. But it low probability right now. But you never know.
I'm not going to go into personal details unless you want to, but I'll just say you have a very, very good reason to miss Soundpath.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone's going to have a reason to miss Soundpath, you got the right one. Like, because I was begging you to, like, let's go have you and your whole family come to Oaks.
But
But
the
you have a
the stars might align, so we'll see. I might
yeah.
get a plane ticket just in case, just to have it in my back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, just to see like a good show. Like, come on, guys. Like, we're gonna increase tickets because we just added Presence, Tatiana Moros, and Apotheosis. Really great indie rock duo coming out of New York.
So do you have a little bit longer time slot now? Because I know it was only going to be about 3 hours. Is it going to be longer now, live on Sunday?
I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. Derek's kind of running that more. And there was miscommunication last time about the watch party time, and so I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna just surrender and just not try to like follow up on things. It's just gonna be what it is. We're all voluntary, doing what we can when we can in the time zones we're in, and no pressure. And we're just going to just hope that people who are watching and checking us out to like, subscribe, share, promote. If you are lamenting the lack of a freedom movement, here's your challenge: come check us out. We have discounted hotels in the area for this week only. August 15th is the last day that you can get a discounted hotel with Soundpath. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay full price for hotels. And I wanted to give people fair warning, but like, we have 8 headliners from 5 to 11 p.m. We might have to increase the time so that we have enough time to set up between sets for those 8 musicians who are country singer Tatiana Moros, folk singer songwriter Brendan Daniel, rappers, Conrad Rigos and Joe Murray, and obviously Presence and 33, aka Derek Rose. And so, like, and I gotta make sure I remember everybody: Apotheosis, Lady Maverick, Femc, rapper. I think I got everybody. Was that 8? I hope that was 8. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get the elevator pitch down so that I don't have to like count in my head. Anyway, so yeah. So it's just a really great, it's going to be a great festival, and it's going to be a great concert. Like, I'm actually really excited to see these musicians. Like, they're very talented. I've studied music my whole life. I've grew up with a violin in my hands. I've been in bands. I was in a punk band, shoegaze band. I know how to play clarinet, keyboard, drums, guitar, bass guitar. Like, I know good music when I hear it. And these musicians have been vetted. They're high caliber, well, studied musicians, not always classically trained. A lot of them used autodidactic methods to become musicians. And it's great to see what kind of music this cross genre festival is offering to the world. And it's for free, you guys, online. You can live stream it. But, renting a venue space, like, these things cost a certain amount. And so if you want a concept for a freedom music festival every year, help us prove the concept and, make the investment in the freedom movement you want today.
Show up.
Sweet. Except for
Thanks,
you.
Jerry.
All right, bye.